Almost 3 years after committing suicide in 1915, Washington attorney Richard Ross Perry came through to his friend and fellow attorney James E. Padgett, using automatic writing, to update him on his progress through the spirit planes. He explained that he had suffered for a time in the darkness many report after death, but now he was progressing, and as he progressed, his appearance and environment were improving, and he now saw those who hadn't in a very different light. I was at the seance tonight, and besides me, there were Carrington and another spirit, whom I did not know, named Silsby, who had committed an act similar to my own. Hutchins was also present, and he also is in a very bad condition and needs help very much, but I believe it will be more difficult to help him because the sins of his earth life had a long, continuous, and accumulating acquirement. He is very dark and repulsive looking, and has not yet had any spiritual awakening. His thoughts and interests are still connected with the money that he left and the fight that is going on between his children and wife. He has attempted to discuss the matter with me just as he did on earth, but I tell him that he must forget these things and think of things that are more vital to his happiness and progress. Hutchins was almost certainly Stilson Hutchins, the publisher who founded the Washington Post. He died on April 23, 1912. As stated in Perry's New York Times obituary, Perry was Hutchins's attorney and presumably knew him well. In Hutchins's case, it appeared that clinging to earthly affairs was keeping him in a lowly condition. During his life, Hutchins was at the top of the tree, one of the richest and most powerful people in the richest and most powerful country in the world. But now Perry described him as very dark and repulsive looking. Maybe this is what is meant in the third saying of the Gospel of Thomas, which reads, "When you know yourselves, then you will be known, and you will know that you are the sons of the living Father. But if you do not know yourselves, then you are in poverty, and you are poverty." This corresponds with Afterlife reports that our environment after death and how we manifest to others are determined by the state of the soul. At that stage of his development, perhaps Hutchins was indeed in poverty and poverty. In December 1914, Albert Riddle, also a Washington attorney, and Padgett's former boss who had died in 1902, explained to Padgett that appearance and environment are all about the state of the soul. He wrote, "You must know that we are all affected to a greater or less degree by the condition of our soul development. Your wife, for instance, is now a very beautiful spirit both as regards her spiritual body as well as her spiritual soul. She is one of the most beautiful that I come in contact with, except your mother and grandmother, who are beyond my ability to describe. I am also very different but not so very much changed, as I have not yet made very great progress in the things pertaining to the involution of the soul." During their conversations, Hutchins, who died in 1912, insisted to Perry that he was happy, but Perry, now experiencing a higher level of consciousness, perceived him as dark and repulsive. Conversely, Riddle described Padgett's wife, Helen, who had only been dead for 8 months, as a very beautiful spirit. Keeping up appearances. Through automatic writer Charlotte Dresser, Fred Rafferty received a communication from his deceased wife, Carrie, aka Dee, who died around 1917. In their book Life and Life Here, After, she explained that after physical death, worth is of more value than beauty, but worth expresses itself in beauty. When the spirit first arrives, it is not more beautiful than the earth life expressed, but becomes beautiful in proportion to spiritual advancement. In a message to Padgett on March 2, 1917, a communicator who identified as Jesus concurred, "The soul's home is in the spirit body, whether that body is encased in the mortal or not, and it is never without such spirit body, which in appearance and composition is determined by the condition and state of the soul. Then what is the spirit? Simply this, the active energy of the soul. In near-death experiences, people sometimes report meeting a being of light someone higher helping those below ascend to brighter climes. Higher does not imply hierarchical power over others, but a deeper awareness of reality. Riddle's comment that Padgett's grandmother and mother were beyond my ability to describe reflects many near-death experience reports where the experiencer meets a beautiful being, a being of light, a faithful friend, a guide, or a helper. NDE researcher Kevin Williams has written about the fluidity of the being of light. An example is Anka Everts's memoir, 9 Days of Eternity, 2023. In September 2009, Everts was tending to her fireplace when her clothing caught fire. Unable to extinguish the flames, she suffered severe burns and was eventually placed in an induced coma for 9 days. During that time, she had an NDE and encountered the being of light. When Everts asked, "Who are you?" the response was both simple and profound. "I can be anything you want me to be." These communications suggest that a more advanced spirit can manifest to someone needing help in a way tailored to that person. For the less evolved, that ability comes only with progress, and much of that progress comes from within. There are no external rewards or punishments imposed, just a continuum of life. Hate breeds stagnation. Love frees the soul to grow. One of the dresser communicators explained, "The one thing that seems to us positive is the evolution of humanity. Upward, always upward. It's often said, 'You are what you eat,' but in the world beyond this one, it seems, we are what we think." Jonathan Beecher is the author of No One's Dead, The Jesus Messages, published by White Crow Books.